I'm Peter Harris. It's a banned neo-Nazi organisation that believes in race war and the collapse of society. And now a schoolboy from Northumberland has been found guilty of joining the paramilitary group, as well as possessing and sharing terror publications. Police found an arsenal of weapons in his bedroom. Well, viewers may find some parts of this report offensive. They called him a boy filled with hate. His bedroom a shrine to his extremism, where a trial heard the police found an arsenal of weapons. This is him using a crossbow, which a jury heard was part of his stash. At just 13, he'd made contact with and later joined a banned neo-Nazi paramilitary group called The Base. This footage from the BBC's Panorama programme.
The FBI says its aim is to incite a race war and unite white supremacists around the globe.
The boy's trial heard it advocated the collapse of society through a race war and the creation of a white supremacist utopia. We can now report a jury found the Northumberland boy guilty of being a member of a banned terror group, as well as possession of terror documents and sharing terror publications. The jury was unable to reach a verdict on the most serious charge he faced of preparing terrorist acts. The Crown Prosecution Service decided not to seek a retrial. He denied everything. He claimed the knives were because of his liking for outdoor pursuits, the crossbow for target practice, and he claimed he didn't know the banned paramilitary group was linked to terror. Highlighted by this case, the insidious online influence of the far right and its recruitment of the young.
This case of the boy in the UK who was suspected of being involved in the base is not the only case of a minor being tied to this group. There were actually arrests in both Italy and the Netherlands of very young people being engaged with the base. And I think it is a very alarming sign of how youth are being increasingly drawn into some of these extremist networks.
The defendant is now 16. He had his trial heard, being a boy who spent a lot of time on the internet. In the real world, he now awaits sentence as a convicted member of a banned group whose far-right credo he came to embrace and promote. A North East Health Trust spent more than £600,000 contesting an employment tribunal which found it harassed a group of female nurses by forcing them to share a changing room with a biological male who identifies as a woman. County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust partially lost the case, brought by 8 nurses from Darlington Memorial Hospital. The Trust has confirmed the cost of the litigation and said there would be no. An uninsured driver has been sentenced to 10 years in prison and from driving for a further 13 years after causing the death of a mother of 2. Claire Laybourne from Heaven was killed in December after a car driven by Ryan Scott smashed into her vehicle on the A19 in North Tyneside. The judge sentencing Scott told him he should have been nowhere near a car. Andy Watson reports.
On the evening of December the 5th, Claire Laybourne had been driving her mother home after a night at the theatre. It was on this stretch of the A19 where the collision occurred. The conditions were wet and dangerous. However, a Skoda Fabia, driven by Scott, was recklessly clocked at a speed of 114 miles per hour moments before the crash. Scott, who wasn't insured to drive, fled the scene after ploughing into the back of Miss Laybourne's vehicle. She suffered a fractured skull and died in hospital the following day. Her mother also suffered serious injuries. Sentencing him to 10 years in prison, the judge said that no sentence he could pass could accurately represent the harm he had inflicted. In victim impact statements, Miss Laybourne's family called her kind, caring and a brilliant mother to her 2 children, but they went on to say that their family was forever broken. Andy Watson, BBC Look North.
Sunderland Football Club says it's appalled by online racist abuse directed at winger Romain Mundle following the 3-1 defeat by Fulham at the Stadium of Light yesterday. Now, racehorses usually have a short career. Many of those that race on the flats will retire by the age of 5. But one stabled in North Yorkshire has just retired at the venerable age of 13. Athol Blair Boy is about to start a new life, helping to train young jockeys at the National Horse Racing College. Not much of a retirement then, is it? Let's get the weather forecast now with Paul Mooney.
Good evening. As we head through the rest of the week, there'll be some rain around, will be windy at times, but it stays very mild for the time of year. There is some rain around tonight. It's fairly patchy, fairly intermittent, and it'll tend to die away from many places as we head towards the end of the night, with a few clear intervals as the clouds break. Temperatures no lower than about 6 or 7 Celsius, and the winds ease as well. Into tomorrow then, a fair amount of cloud around through the morning, especially in the west, so a few spots of rain and drizzle for Cumbria and up onto the Pennines, drier further east, and that's where we're most likely to see a few decent brighter spells develop through the afternoon. When it does brighten up, somewhere like Middlesbrough could hit 13 Celsius, that's 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Cloudy with the odd spot of rain in the west on Wednesday. Thursday, a bit more rain and a bit of a stronger breeze, but staying mild.
That's it from the late team. Have a good night.